remember driving. I was working, I was driving, and I was in so much emotional pain that I just reached out to God and said, you have to help me. Like, I cannot take one more minute of this pain. And all of a sudden, a Los Angeles phone number shows up on my dashboard. And I work in New York, so it just seemed odd to me, but I decided to answer it, and it was you. And whatever you said to me, I said, okay, I was open to anything. It's like I guess like a drug addict who's like, I'll take anything at this point. But anyway, we spoke, and I remember at the time, I felt that I needed to make an investment into myself. I don't know if it's our generation or just being a woman, we're always doing for others and taking care of everyone else. And that was a turning point for me where I said, you know what, life is not working out. I have to do something different. And so I remember saying, I don't care if I don't go on vacation. I don't care if I can't get my nails done. I'm going to take this seriously and put in the work, because I was really at the end of my rope. My husband of 17 years, who acted like he would die without me, just basically threw a bomb one day, and it just tailspinned me into really despair, because I didn't see it coming. I wasn't prepared. And looking back now, I realized that he was validating me. And these are the things, so many things that I learned from you, Sherry, so many nuggets of wisdom along our path. But more importantly, what I found your work to be so different than anybody else or any book that I read, your ability to get me into that state of complete relaxation. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember that or you do that all the time, but you were able to dig so deep into some pain that I was harboring that really was at the root of all of it. And I say this with I am a very honest and authentic person, and I think I even told you, Sherry, back then, I remember saying I would pay $50,000 to have removed what felt like almost a tumor in my being that I no longer had to carry. It wasn't on my shoulders like financial responsibility. It was just pain that I was holding on to. And so after that, so much, I continued to do the work in so many of the areas that you had recommended. And so, years have passed. I did try to save my marriage, thinking that that's what I wanted. But I'm now divorced 2 years, and I am so happy. And 6 months ago, in the interim of all that, I had some success at work. I got promoted. I turned around.
Gina, I just want to stop you for 1 second and just ask because I know your journey too. And so I know that you had this success at work as well. Can you just share with us what was going on at work too that was challenging for you?
I think the hurt and the pain that was going on in my personal life was spilling over into my, whatever you want to call it, aura. And as much as I tried to hide it and not share what was going on, I think there was a hardness about me that was repelling some associates and some, coworkers. And, I was just frustrated because if they only knew that I was a really kind and loving and giving person. But like I said, I think that hardness that was coming out of a protection, to protect my heart and my mind and everything, was really affecting my job. So today it's like another 180. So, and it's important because now once you get divorced, you have to really financially support yourself. So again, looking back, I was able to hold on to my job through it all, hold on to my sanity. My relationships with my sister, my older sister, did a 180. So many things. And I've even attracted friendships now that I find I didn't even have when I was younger, soul type of sisters. And so, like you said earlier, I'm in the best place of my life right now. And meeting the new boyfriend 6 months ago was really unexpected and kind of a cherry on top of the cake. But you might want to ask me a question about that.
Well, I definitely do, but I also want to just also recap for everyone the other pains that were going on in your life when you came to me. So you had, just to summarize, you had disruption in your marriage, dropped a bomb on you, and
Yep.
that bomb being around betrayal for you.
Yeah, like, wanting to end the marriage and just causing me so much confusion because he did give me mixed messages. And I just wasn't prepared. Whether I could have saved it back then, I don't know, Sherry. But like I said, I think if he knocked on my door today, I wouldn't probably open it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in a different place.
I realize, right, that I deserve better. And, you know, again, even if I didn't meet a new person, to me, I would rather be alone than to be in a toxic relationships.
Yeah.
Now, again, going back into my life, I mean, a lot of it did stem from my relationship with my mother, which that too has improved as much as it can be improved, but I think it's important to go into your root problems, do your history. You have to push through the pain. So many people don't want to feel the pain, just like anything else. So whether you get into a new relationship too early or you start spending money on all kinds of external things, look, hair and Botox and boob jobs, all of that is great. But if you don't do the inner work where you have true joy, I don't think it works. And that's how I attracted my new boyfriend.
Mhm.
So that's why I had to reach out to Sherry, because honestly, I thought, well, if it wasn't going to work out with my husband, then so be it. Never at 61 did I expect to be felt like a teenager. He's actually even a little younger than me, which is so cool. But but
Oh,
he is so different than my husband too. He's a real man, and it's just great. And again, Sherry, I want to just bring one point up because I truly, truly feel that this is pivotal. I don't know the age group of the women joining today, but I could tell you, growing up, my generation was the feminist movement kind of made us almost feel guilty for being women. And like you said, that's who we are by nature. I love being a female. I don't, I'm a strong girl, but I want a man who's stronger than me.
yeah.
And when we understand the individual roles, I think that's where it really just makes a tremendous difference. So to understand why we do the things we do is so vital. Like I said to you yesterday, I had a situation where I kind of showed up different than my old Gina, and so that tells me that how much progress I've made, and I got the outcome that I wanted.
And what happened yesterday was with your current boyfriend. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So we were chit-chatting a little bit on the phone, and I was supposed to try to meet him somewhere, and I didn't know where it was. And so I basically just said, look, I can't find you. I'm just going to talk to you later. So he said something like, oh, you're impossible. He texted me. I was like, really? So I sent back one of those faces with the little teardrop, because I didn't like that. I didn't like that he said that to me. So he didn't respond and I didn't respond. And I was so fine with it. Like the old Gina, I'd be calling or trying to find him. I was like, no. So I went to do my work. I drove all the way home. He eventually caved in and called me. He came here last night. He cooked me dinner, massaged my feet. And that's my point. Like, not that it's a game, but it's almost like honoring yourself and saying, you know what, I'm not going to be so desperate to hold on to this relationship, and just being okay with yourself,
Mhm.
and that's what I wasn't with my previous relationship.
Right.
So
Yeah, no. So I love that you shared that. That is such an important pivotal point, as you said, was you're really in touch with your significance and your worthiness to have
correct.
a good relationship and to be treated well. And you're not in a place anymore? Because I know this would you say that's a big transformation for you, is not to be in a place where you're chasing something for fear of losing it?
Correct.
That
Correct.
you are stable enough within, that you understand that you are worthy of what you desire,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to hold space for that. And the interesting thing that always happens when we do that is, it showed up for you, and that because he didn't feel the push energy from you, then he was able to come around and be the man again. Right. So that's beautiful. So what do you, in that situation, I see that it looks like you want to say something else about it. So share with us what else you wanted to
Well,
say about it.
what was going through my head too was just remembering, that if I want to be pursued, then I have to stick to that belief, and so again, in my upbringing, I didn't have any brothers. I mean, I could go into my whole story. My dad worked a lot. My mom was self-absorbed, which is probably part of my issue. So I learned to be the doer, to be the first one to. And so yesterday it showed me how I was willing to just be. Like you taught me, Sherry, feminine energy is just being. We don't have to be doing all the time, and I do have the ability to switch it when it comes to my job. I'm in a very male dominated industry. And so, I have to be careful there too. And I've mastered it both with my clients and my coworkers. And so just understanding the whole, energy of us as women, as men, having male, I mean, we all have both energies, and when to apply it, when to not. And so it's just been tremendous. And the funniest story is I have a lot of girlfriends, and a lot of them are looking for a husband or a boyfriend. I was not. Okay. So this was shocking that out of all the friends that have been on the prowl, how is it that I ended up with this dream man? And honestly, the night I met him, I was at a wedding as a guest. He was working head of security. He literally said to me, Gina, I have never given my number or asked a girl for my number in this position, in this job. He says, but there was just something about you. He didn't say it was because I was pretty. He just, the way he said it, it made me understand that it was my essence, that because even though I wasn't with a man, I was still happy and I was smiling, and he picked up on that. And that's why. And the other night when he bought me champagne for New Year's, the bottle had a pink sparkly label, and I don't know how it came up. And he said, oh, I walked in the liquor store and I saw that bottle. It reminded me of you. Now, Sherry, he knows nothing about you or our sprinkle program or our princess, none of it. I don't share this part of my life with him, but I just found that to be so, what's the word? Confirmation of what the program or the work we did together has really achieved. Yeah. I don't think I've ever gotten a compliment like that I look like a sparkly label on a champagne bottle.
Gina. Sorry. Great. And that is true. That is just, I mean, you are absolutely right. What confirmation that your beautiful, bubbling, effervescent vibrancy is just flowing, that it is, that other people are picking up on it. And, and so the biggest transformation that you had, what would you say was the biggest transformation for you?
I think just, again, understanding the root of my problem, the fear of the abandonment and where that came from, knowing that I'd be okay alone. If that was, I mean, I'd have to buy a Maltese, but but I accepted that. And, I think in life we can choose to be bitter. Like if I really want to peel back the layers and be angry at my mom and my grandmother and whoever, or I could just say that was what was, but I don't have to live like that anymore. And let me make the best of what I have today. It's all we have, and moving forward. Mm-hmm. And so I think that too is something that takes a lot of heart and to forgive. I think if we hold on to unforgiveness, it really does just hurt you. And so I made that decision. And so I just live my life day by day, obviously. I don't have fear of anything anymore, because in the end, I survived such a terrible storm, and so it builds confidence, I guess. And again, little things that happen like yesterday, trust me, I mean, it's a 6 month, 7 month relationship. He said to me last night, he goes, yesterday was our 7th-month anniversary. You forgot. Like, guys don't say that. And we're talking a rugged, he's a Teamster, he's a crane operator. He's not a wimpy guy. This is a macho man, and I call him my dream man. So I'm just very, very happy that I've attracted someone like this and that it actually exists. He bought me all kinds of jewelry for Christmas. He's just showering me with love. And, like I said, better late than never, right?
Well, and the key is that you did the work to transform your inner landscape, as you said in the very beginning. Yeah, it's not about what we do on the outside, it's about the work within. And so what would you say to I know in the beginning you were talking about just the total despair that you were in, and so if you were to put, like, oh my gosh, that was my life, how much of the day, like if you were to give a percentage to how much of your day you felt really in despair compared to today, what would that look like?
Oh, I can't, you mean like after the bomb was thrown and I was in that state of, oh my God, I'm going to lose
before we started working together, what percentage of your day was really in despair or depressed or sad or confused or frustrated?
All the time.
All
and
the time.
Like it was even hard to go to work. It was so hard. Like the pain was so severe. I functioned, but it was hard. And like I said, I got to a point where I knew I was either going to survive this or I don't know what was going to happen. I remember being on the couch, literally broken and feeling like my heart got ripped out of my body. It was just incredible. It was the worst thing that ever happened, but the best thing that ever happened. And so today I don't have any of that pain. I have situations that I feel, well, let me step back. Like I had something with my boss last week. I didn't react to it, but I stood up for myself in a very gracious way. And I'm so proud of that. The old Gina would never. I'd either not say anything and harbor the resentment, or I would maybe be too aggressive, where now I'm just so much more in touch and in control of everything, my emotions, of myself. And again, I don't, again, yesterday explained to me that even if, God forbid, things don't work out with Scott, I'm not going to be in the same place as I was with my ex-husband. Yeah. So that in itself is wonderful because I don't want to ever have to go back there,
Yeah. So you've developed self-love and self-acceptance.
Your work is so fundamental, in my opinion. Like I said, you just figured it out. You figured out what's going on. Your book is amazing. I tell everyone to start there. But again, I find that people want results, but they don't want to do the legwork that's required. And if that's you, I mean, God bless you, but I just know that you have to do the work. You have to invest in yourself and be willing to ask the hard questions, cry. And I can tell you this, Scott, my boyfriend, is so funny that all the tears that I cried, he has totally balanced it out with the laughing that I've had for the last 6-7 months. It's been incredible. So I think he's just a manifestation of, like you said, Sherry, he's, I can't, there's no words for me to explain,
Yeah. Well, and what we feel inside has an energy to it. And so you attract it. So you are attracting the work that we did together, that you really put your heart and soul into. You made a decision That's true. What I know about you, Gina, is you made a decision, and you said to me, I remember you did write me a card saying that the investment you would have paid 10 times, and
Oh, yeah.
that you
And
figured.
first I was like, I don't know. It seemed, but again, I really can't put value to it because it changed my life. You changed my life. And again, I think it's because you were able to go in so deep to layers that I just, for whatever reason, didn't have the ability, didn't have the whatever the tools. You really you nailed it. And so I'm so eternally grateful, and I always will be. So
Oh, well, I'm so proud of you, Gina. And I know that talking about going within and doing the work can feel scary to a
mhm.
lot of people. What would you say about that? I know that you just shared that that's what you have to do, but what would you say to somebody who's on the fence and really wants to change their life, but is scared about doing that, is fearful that things are going to change and they don't know what to expect? What would you say about that? How that played out for you, really going in and doing that work? Was it worth
Well,
it? Obviously you said it was worth it, but what could they, uh, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, up until that point, you'd spent decades of your life in being a certain way. So comparatively, how much time did it really take to bring you to that emotional freedom?
it's hard to say because, like I said, unlike most breakups, my husband drops the bomb and doesn't do anything about it for years. So even though he moved out, he was dropping money off, he was coming by to see the dog. So it kind of left me in limbo state for a long time. But in essence, I used that time anyway. Um, there's really nothing to be scared about. And I will say this, Sherry, having a coach, okay, having someone who has your back while you're going to this scary place is key. Now, like I said, my mom unfortunately was very self-absorbed. So I was missing that element in my life. And so you provided that for me, that safety net, knowing that you already were on the other side of the pain and that you could guide me and steer me in the right direction, or like I said, give me nuggets of wisdom that even though it didn't necessarily apply in the moment, resonates to this day, whether it's picking out the kind of clothes I wear. And external does have some importance, ladies. I mean, because if you love yourself, you're going to work on your aesthetics as best as can be. I guess what I was saying earlier is if we're only working on the outside, that then we're like an empty shell that just looks good, but men are not attracted to that, you know? So you really got to do the inner work, the heart work, the soul work. And again, it's challenging because you want to love, but you also want to set boundaries and love yourself simultaneously. And so I've learned to do that. My even relationship with my mother, I don't know that she ever validated me. Last week, I don't know what came up, and she's like, "You're beautiful, you're this, you're." I'm like, wow, took her only 61 years to give me that kind of accolades. And I'll take it now than never. But these are the things that just shock me sometimes, that I don't know how it's happening. I just know that it is happening. But
Mhm.
back to scared, I wasn't scared. I trusted you, Sherry, because I know your story, and knowing that you could take me across that path was, like I said, so valuable. And that's why I don't know the ladies' stories, who they have, who they don't have. But if you need someone that's going to have your best interest and guide you through the scary parts, I mean, I couldn't recommend Sherry enough. Like I said, I tell everybody about your book. I tell everybody about your website. I can't make them read it, but it's up to you individually to make that decision.
Yeah.
So,
And you went beyond the reading, because we did
oh
programs,
yeah,
coaching
yeah, the
together. Yeah.
reading opened up my eyes to, like, hey, wow, that sounds like a little bit of my story. And then when we did the work together, that, you know, I think it was it 10 weeks. I don't even remember. I just remember carving out the time and the money to say, I'm going to give this my, whether it's my last shot, you know, because at the time, I think I was like in my early 50s, you know, and so who knew that there could be this. I mean, I wanted a new life. I wanted things to get better. And slowly but surely they have. And like I said, you know, having a partner who cares about you and all that is cherry on the cake. But even before that, I'm divorced 2 years now. And like I said, I held on to my job, my house, my friendships, my family. And so it's really impacted everything. And that's the way it should be, you know, really kind of balance things out. And so
Mhm.
that wanted to share because I know there's a lot of women in my situation. Again, starting with my own girlfriends. But like I said, you can't make someone do the work. You have to make that decision yourself. But
Yeah, and
I
you,
love
yeah.
you, Terry.
Oh, and I'm so proud, and I just love you, Gina. You have done the work, and and it shows. Your face is glowing, you look amazing, and you're happy, as you said.
Yep,
And so I think ultimately that's the key, is emotional freedom,
it
and so
is.
that you
Oh,
can
right.
live your life with that joy.
Yep.
And then that's how you start attracting all these different things into your life. So
And
I
you know, it's
really appreciate your
even when,
sharing your story.
yeah, even when I'm with Scott, I have no makeup on. I don't think I look that great. He doesn't treat me any different, you know? So that to me makes me feel like it's genuine. And I think that's what we all want. You know, nobody wants to go to bed with makeup on, right? Or their hair done. And
Yeah.
so, you know, again, he's just great. But like I said, it's just the freedom of not having to carry that pain wherever that pain is resonating. And I don't think you even remember mine, but I would have never figured it out without you, Sherry. I know that for a fact because I had it so buried deep that I didn't want to look at it. And that in itself was what was causing my hurt. So can't,
Beautiful.
yeah.
And you showed up and you did the work, and it was my honor and my total privilege to be a part of your journey,
Well,
Gina.
I appreciate you're doing this work because, like I said, I think there's so many people that need it, whether it's our culture messages, our dysfunctional families, the busyness of our life, all of it accumulates. And I just think that your program and your belief system and how the work that you're doing is so vital. If I didn't love my job so much, I might be doing it for what you're doing on the East Coast, but I do love my job, but maybe down the road, we'll see.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I can't thank you enough. And ladies, whoever you are, really, God bless you. And, you know, I wish you all the best, but you matter. And there's no point in living if you don't feel like you matter. That's how I look.
So well said, Gina. Thank you so much. Then that is the truth. There's no point living unless you know that you matter and you have that freedom. So, oh, again, beautiful, beautiful share, and thank you for taking us down the road of your journey, Gina. And it's just so incredible to have witnessed your
Yep.
expansion, and you're really stepping into the knowing and the loving of yourself, and then being able to
100%.
show up in that way. So
Yep.
thank you for being with
Bye.
us.
Thank
Bye.
you, lady. Bye now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for being with us. I so appreciate it. And let's thank Gina.